Marissa here with RoadRUNNER magazine, and we just spent the day testing the brand new 2025 Kawasaki Versys 1100 SE-LT. Here's what I think about this bike after a day in the saddle.
Let's talk about a bike that seriously doesn't get enough credit, the Kawasaki Versys. If you've been riding for a while, you've probably heard of it. Maybe you've even ridden one. I remember the first time I threw a leg over a Versys 650. Back then, it was this kind of weird in-between bike that didn't really fit into any specific category. Kawasaki called it a middleweight naked bike, and people laughed when I said it was one of my favorite motorcycles. I told them they didn't know what they were missing. Today, the Versys 1100 SE-LT is a full-on tall tourer, which basically means it's a mix of sport bike, touring bike, and adventure bike all rolled into one. It's got long legs for big miles, and it still knows how to party. And the power? It's got plenty. Kawasaki dropped in the same inline 4 from the Ninja 1100, the new one with the slightly longer stroke. So now it's sitting at 1,099 cc's instead of 1,043. Doesn't seem like such a big jump, but trust me, you feel it. This upgrade delivers significantly more torque throughout the rev range, making it effortless to ride no matter the gear or RPM. It's also got a heavier flywheel, which makes the bike feel easier to ride, especially at low speeds with less of a chance of stalling the engine. Ever taken off in fourth gear from a dead stop? You can on this thing. Need to pass some slow-moving traffic at highway speeds? Just roll on the throttle. No downshifting, no drama. It just goes. Now, Kawasaki also tweaked the gearing. 5th and 6th are longer now, so you're cruising at lower RPMs. That means less buzz in the handlebars, foot pegs, and seat. If you do a lot of highway miles, you'll love it. This bike is almost what I would call a sleeper. Sure, its aggressive styling hints at its potential, but only to those who know what they're looking at. Having been such an underrated motorcycle for so long, many people are unaware that there's 133 horsepower hiding behind this bodywork, and it's ready to surprise any unsuspecting street racer. The Quickshifter got a nice upgrade. Previous versions required reaching 2,500 RPM before the system would engage.
Now, one of the big updates that they did to this bike is with their Quickshifter, and they've lowered the minimum shifting threshold for the Quickshifter. So now, taking off, you can start shifting at 1,500 RPMs without the clutch. And in my opinion, that kind of turns it from a quick shifter. I mean, you can still use it as a quick shifter, but makes it a lazy shift. So I'm going to call it the Kawasaki Lazy Shift. Shifting to fourth. It's almost hard to shift at 1,500 RPM. You almost have to be going faster than that just to get going. But, I mean, you saw just how easy that, what I'm dubbing the lazy shift is. Nice and smooth, super easy bike to ride.
When it came to twisty roads, I was able to test the Quickshifter again with a slightly more aggressive approach. It moved through the gears flawlessly. The same system I barely gave thought to in city traffic felt just as refined at full throttle. Really, my only gripe about this bike is that the shifter itself feels kind of soft.
Even though it shifts great with or without the clutch and it's super smooth, the shift lever itself feels very spongy. You almost can't tell if you have gotten into the gear you want to be in or not. There's no affirmative click into the gear that you really can feel, which I guess isn't necessarily a bad thing. I prefer that, so I know that I'm in the gear I want to be in, but I'm sure once I get used to it, it won't really be an issue. But that gear shift lever is definitely a little spongy feeling. And another piece to this quick shifting puzzle is when you do use the clutch to shift, it's not notchy and weird. You know, sometimes bikes with quick shifters, when you do decide to use the clutch to shift, you get this notchy, clunky kind of feeling to it. which that is not the case on this bike, despite it being a cable clutch. So very well done, Kawasaki.
This bike really shines when it comes to comfort. I spent 2 long days in the saddle, and I wasn't even sore. The seat is great, the ergonomics are spot on, and I got no major buffeting from the windshield while wearing a standard street full-face helmet. Just for reference, I am 5 foot 10 inches. I also have to give Kawasaki credit for placing the cruise control buttons on the left handlebar. There's nothing worse than trying to hold the throttle steady while awkwardly stretching your thumb to press buttons. The locked-in speed display at the top of the TFT screen is also a great example of Kawasaki's attention to detail. Small, thoughtful touches like these make a real difference in the total rider experience. The Versys is absolutely packed with tech. Ride modes, power modes, intelligent ABS, electronically controlled suspension, traction control, and a corner management system. I'm just scratching the surface here, but this is where the Kawi truly feels refined. In particular, Kawasaki's corner management function measures engine and chassis parameters, then automatically modulates brake force and engine power throughout the turn. Systems like this can sometimes feel intrusive, but not on this bike. We were pushing these bikes pretty hard in the corners, and if it ever did kick in, I sure didn't notice. On this test, I rode the Versys from Los Angeles to Guadalupe, Mexico, through city streets, highways, coastal roads, and mountain passes. 2 full days in the saddle didn't faze me in the slightest. This is a bike I'd get on and ride across the country and back at the drop of a hat. No modifications needed. Now, the Versys isn't the only player in this tall tourer category. Ducati's Multistrada is a big-time contender, but also comes with a big-time price tag, starting somewhere between $24,000 and $31,000 depending on the options you choose. BMW's S1000 XR is priced slightly below the Kawasaki, but by the time I added all the packages to make it an even comparison, I was over $23,000. Then when I added all the additional parts I wanted, that rose to over $26,000. Of course, you also have to factor in European manufacturer maintenance and costs over time with these 2 models, but we know the performance is there on both. On the more budget-friendly side, you've got the Yamaha Tracer 9 GT Plus, which comes in at just over the $16,000 mark, but from personal experience on this one, the electronics just interfere with the ride too much. I've heard that for 2025, they're actually removing a lot of the tech and features from this bike to make it a more bare-bones model, just shy of $13,000. So we'll have to wait and see if that makes this bike much more desirable, both in terms of cost and performance. Then we have Suzuki's GSX-S 1000 GX Plus, which starts at $18,000. This bike probably makes the closest comparison to the Versys of all the bikes mentioned already, but I personally can't comment on how this bike feels to ride because as of the publishing of this video, I've yet to ride this model. Right now, the Versys sits in this sweet spot of performance, comfort, and reliability. Even though it costs more than most motorcycles I would consider buying, for everything you get, it does make sense. So, what do you think? Does the Versys deserve more love? Let me know in the comments below.
If you like this video, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to stay up to date on all the latest motorcycle, touring, and travel content.